how and when did you become a man as opposed to a boy?
At my bar mitzvah. It's a Jewish law. Become 13, not the circumcision, forget about that. It was during my bar mitzvah. I became a man in the Jewish religion, and I try to grow every day. Not every day do I accomplish that goal, but every day I try to become a better man by respecting people most of the time. That's about...
He is the best. He is the best.
That's about it.
I don't think you can get much better.
Yeah, we're all family.
Together.
We are family. Yeah, we are family. We are family.
Hasn't happened yet. I hope to always remain a boy. There are parts of me that I'm proud that I'm still a boy. Each experience that you go through adds a little bit more to your becoming a man. And there's no textbook for it. In retrospect, I'd say having to become a parent to my parents earlier than I expected made me a man quicker. When your parents take care of you and then they get ill, may both my parents rest in peace, when you had to become a parent to them and make adult decisions, that's when you become a man.
I'm still working on it. She would say that, right. I suppose when I went off to college, I mean, I was pretty immature for my age and looked younger for my age, I think, believe it or not, for my age, in my 20s. And I'm guessing I felt more like a man while I was in college trying to find myself and doing things all on my own, living far away from my parents in Montreal and just taking on those challenges by myself, daily challenges by myself. So I felt more like a man having to deal with those things.
Well, a baby changes a lot. Looking after another person's life changes a lot. I don't know, you feel like you're mature before you have a kid, but when you have a kid, it definitely changes. I think it definitely changes the way you see the world. You try and even if you feel yourself as someone that's empathetic, you're forced to really, truly live your life through somebody else's eyes, your baby's eyes, which is the most important.
Don't know if I am yet, so I can't really answer that. Who's to say?
Maybe become a man as opposed to a boy. I don't know if I've reached that yet, actually. I still feel pretty young, and I don't know. I haven't thought about that before, but perhaps I'm still trying to become a man.
I guess I would say when I started providing for my family, taking that big step is definitely a lot challenging for sure. I guess that's what would be the difference between becoming a boy and a man. Definitely.
Honestly, I would say I definitely became a man when I really started to find my faith in Christ back in September.
A man as opposed to a boy? That's a great question.
Thank you.
I think COVID was a part of that, just learning that I had to learn to put a few things first, including like family, learning how to make sure I prioritize my work, do what's important for me as opposed to spending time. Nothing wrong with indulging in video games or watching TV and stuff like that, but making sure you prioritize what's important to you and what's going to help your loved ones out.
That's a great question. I think when I sort of tend to leave my juvenile characteristics behind was when I was sort of transitioning into 10th or junior year. I had a lot of conflict going on outside of my life, so the sooner I kind of dealt with that is when I kind of transitioned. I've always been like to myself a lot with whatever I've done mostly. For me to kind of just start doing things by myself and not asking for help is kind of when I stepped it up into adulthood.
I don't know if I am a man yet. No, I'd say 15. I got bar mitzvahed at 13, started to go through puberty. I don't know, 15 just felt right. It was a round number.
I don't know. Be more specific. What are you talking about? I guess when you get on your own, you have children, get married.
Yes, so for me, after 2 years of college in New Jersey, I was feeling unsatisfied. And so I picked up my belongings and I moved to Colorado by myself, and I re-enrolled as a transfer student. Didn't know anybody there, didn't have a place to live, and I had to figure it out. And so through that experience is when I felt that I grew up to be a man.
I'd say I became a man when I'd say my first committed love is maybe the big one. It's more just being able to look to somebody who's by your side and realizing that they are as big of a part of you as you are to yourself. And that it's almost about finding somebody who is a part of your identity as much as what you study here or what your job is or the people you're connected with. And so it's realizing your attachments, what matters to you in your life, and who you care about. And when you realize all those things, I'd say you grow as a person.
I think independence, like going off to college, was definitely the, hey, you're out on your own. Like, even though I had like a support network still, it was still like living alone versus, having just a direct network, being able to just, I think going to college, there's like a tangible form of independence, and that's what kind of turned me into a man.
Oh, that's a tough question. I'd say I'm still on that journey, for sure. But I think new sources of independence has helped me grow as a man. I think college being one of them, but yeah.
I'm still in the process. Well, according to my faith, when I was 13. But really, I think when I first had a job, when I was a teenager, washing cars, having some personal responsibility.
Oh, I don't know. It never felt like there was a transition to that. Like, I don't know. I was kind of, with COVID and quarantine happening, I never even got to like finish being a kid in high school and stuff. Like, I kind of just got thrown into adulthood. Like, I have a full-time job now with like benefits and everything. It's so weird. Like, I was just talking about this the other day. Life feels like it's like on a standstill right now. It feels like time stopped. Like, I'm still the same person that left that school my junior year, graduated and everything. I still feel like I'm the same guy that was in that school. It's so weird.
I suppose when I learned to stand up for myself and help those in need.
I think once I separated from my original household, like growing up with my siblings and stuff like that, and once I kind of branched out from there and just kind of started doing my own thing, I started learning what life's really about and stuff like that. Once you kind of start dating, or if you want to date, I don't know if you want to date, if you don't, but once you do start dating and you start meeting other people, period, like even friendships, and you have other relationships, that's when you tend to grow. Those people expose you to other things in life, and then you really get to see kind of what you're made of too. So, yeah.
I don't know. I think that's like a long process. I don't know if there's like a specific end date or a beginning to it. I think you're always learning.
Realizing that, I guess, you have to take every day at a time, Like, you can't just rush into, I can't wait to be an adult, Like, every kid wants that. But in reality, like, I'm 19 now. And obviously I wish I was like an 8-year-old again. That way I can have my parents do everything for me, because that's just easier. But realizing that, like, I take everything at one step at a time is kind of like realizing that every second of life is really important. So I need to value every second.
I definitely think becoming a man is also realizing that sometimes you can also stay as like a boy in some instances. Like when we were like kids, we wanted to be grown up so fast, but now, all of a sudden we're all grown up and we have to like do things ourselves, work, go to school, get good grades. Like you kind of look back, man, like I miss my childhood in like a sense. So like I kind of feel like you have to be a man, but in some instances, like we always still want to have fun, have that freedom. And there's nothing wrong with that, even if you want to like, do small things or big things. Like sometimes being a boy sometimes is fun.
I don't even think I am a man yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't even consider myself a man yet, but I'd say everything in life, every little decision you make leads you up to that, whether it's hard times, new family struggles, or like a death of someone, or a parent split up, anything like that, that just slowly builds you up into a man, I guess. That's it. Little things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm a boy or a man yet. I think I do a lot of childish things. I don't think I'm a man yet, honestly. And like that's tough to say, but I don't think I'm a boy. I think I'm mature. I have a lot of responsibilities, but I don't do it in a like adult like man way. I still like do my adult responsibilities as I would if I was a kid. So I have to like get up, go to class, do my work, whatever, but I guess that's just my nature, but I like undercut myself. So I think I'm somewhere in between.
Realistically, when I started working for myself, like I took on like responsibilities that like I didn't have on like other jobs. I took on like I have to fund a lot of things myself, stuff like that, but I'm still a kid at heart. I'll always be a boy, but more responsibilities now. Sucks.
I don't know. Probably after my first job and supporting myself.
The most definitive moment of sort of like manning up in my life was a moment of seeing myself and seeing that I wasn't who I thought I was, and humbling myself in like acknowledgement of who I really was, which wasn't pretty, and asking for forgiveness of a number of people who I had wronged. My parents being some of them, my siblings who I'd already mentioned some of that being some of them, and my creator being another one of them. Selfish. I was the gravitational center of my little solar system, yeah, it was about me.